All right. First of all, I want to welcome everyone to our annual Black History Month Black Box Lecture Series. I want to just thank all of the teachers who made it a point to stop what you were doing and take a moment to celebrate the legacy and history of Africans in America. Our Black Student Union today will present to you a presentation on Black love and Black holidays. This is really all about what Brother Malcolm once said, which is, of all of our studies, history is best qualified to reward our research. The moment that we begin to forget our history, which is our collective memory, we are demoted to the lower animals. We must focus and refocus on the ties that bind, because what unites us is greater than what divides us. And what you're about to see, not only today, but for the rest of the Black History Month celebration and lecture series, we are all about celebrating American history. And this is a vital part. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Madam President, Miracle Gross of the Black Student Union.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all so much for coming. As Mr. Shabazz said, thank you to all the teachers who took time out of your morning and your class to come and celebrate and learn with us. Today, we're going to be talking about a holiday called Black Love Day. It is celebrated on February 13th, which is the day before Valentine's Day, and this year was the 29th year that it was celebrated.
My bad. So in this presentation, we're going to be talking about the African diaspora, Black Love Day, how we can celebrate Black Love Day and what it is in more detail, songs that embody Black love spoken word, and then we're going to have a short discussion.
So the African diaspora is the voluntary and involuntary dispersion of Africans globally throughout history, the emergence of cultural identity based on the origin and social condition, and the psychological and physical return of those in the diaspora to Africa.
So Black Love Day is a holiday that we use to celebrate and spread love within the African diaspora. So it is the fourth commemorated African American holiday, an observance of atonement, reconciliation, celebration, and a 24-hour demonstration of Black love through 5 tenets, which will be shown in the next slide. It was founded by Ayo, Handy, Kendi in 1993, and as said previously, it's celebrated on February 13th. So the goals of Black Love Day include to increase peace, stop violence, end Black self-hatred, end white supremacy/racism, and encourage white people in the 24-hour period to show love and action towards Black people by working on their own racial attitudes and behaviors.
Okay, so celebrating Black love. As Miracle mentioned earlier, there are 5 tenets, and those are like the acts of love. Those tenets include the creator, for self, for family, within the Black community, and then for the Black race. So Black Love Day isn't exclusive to just like Black people. People of other races can participate as well by putting their love into action, meaning they work on their behavior and racial attitude towards Black people.
And that's not the only way to celebrate it. You could also like support Black-owned businesses. Like Miracle's business she has is Miracle Creations. You should go check it out on Instagram. You could also reflect on your actions. Sometimes it could be simple as hanging out with friends, posting on social media, and appreciate and love the Black culture. And this is a quote from the American Holiday Association. We encourage people on this day to do something very simple. Just demonstrate love for 24 hours to celebrate, offer forgiveness to others, ourselves and others, and to accept very important tenders. Ayo Handy Kennedy, the founder and director of the African American Holiday Association.
So we have some excerpts from an article written by Mania Shabazz, which is actually Mr. Shabazz's daughter. She went to Grambling University. These come from her articles, so I'm going to read them. In 1993, Io Handy Kendi, the founder of the nonprofit African American Holiday Association, created Black Love Day. The holiday is based on 5 tenets: love toward the Creator, love for itself, love for the family, love for/within the Black community, and love for Black people. The idea is to apply these tenets throughout the entire year in one's daily life, but to pay special homage to the idea of Black love on February 13th. People of other races can work on the behavior and racial attitudes towards Black people and demonstrate love in action to African Americans. She gives a little background to how she found out about Black Love Day and the history of her family celebrating Black Love Day. She says, "The holiday happens to fall on my birthday. My father, Mr. Shabazz, always told me this growing up, but I never heard of others around me celebrating it. After asking multiple students and teachers on Grambling State University's campus and asking outside family, friends, and peers, it registered quickly to me that people were unaware of the African American holiday." So before we entered this room, how many people knew about Black Love Day? Okay, we got a good 3-4 people out of a good, 20, 30. She then shares some quotes from an interview that she had with Starine Rock. Starine Rock says, "It's important because there's still so many stereotypes of Black people when it comes to love and relationships, sometimes perpetuated by other people and Black people. It's just important for other people to see that this person looks like me and they have what I want, and if they have found it, then I can find it too." She then says, "It's a reminder to celebrate yourself, be proud of who you are, but also to celebrate love and finding someone who is a reflection of you, or a reminder for you to be the better version of yourself and to build for a brighter future when it comes to the Black community. Black Love Day was started to put an end to self-hatred among Black people, stop the violence and racism, increase peace, besides offering an Africa-centered, spiritually influenced holiday."
Okay, so here are some songs that promote Black love and unity. I won't name them all, but like a few examples are Black Bonnie, Best of Me, By Your Side, and At Last. And then the others are artists.
Is there any songs that anybody know? Raise your hand if you know one of these songs. Naheem, what song you know?
Oh, I thought you were asking about that list. But,
Yeah.
any other song really?
Okay. Anybody else? Go ahead, Mr. Ross. Okay. Oh, go ahead. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
If you're on TikTok, you best know the song "Pen Black Love" by
Y'all know
Amy
that
and
song?
Georgia Smith.
Y'all know that song? Mm-hmm.
And this one is by Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway. It's called "Be Real Black."
Oh, I love that song.
Oh man, right? It really is. Look it up, folks. And I'm not on salary for Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway. Donny Hathaway is a state, but it's a beautiful song that celebrates Black life.
I agree. My favorites are anything by Smokey Robinson and Brian McKnight, but that's just me. Okay, go ahead. So next we have some Black love, spoken word, and poetry.
Televised and in need of draft.
I put these videos in there specifically because of their content. This one shows love to Black women, this one shows love to Black men, and this one just shows Black to the love community and kind of embodies the love for the Black family. So let's play those. Start with that.
Drastic Black advancement. Black enhances, Black with chances, Black with privilege, Black with pride, Black on purpose on the Black hand side, Black and beautiful, Black and blessed and highly favored, praise the Lord, Black and blessed, Black and so much more, Black and nothing less, Black and educated.
Sorry, we're trying to full screen it. Just click the button at the bottom. Oh, go ahead.
Televised and in need of drastic Black brilliance. Black is strong, Black is resilience, Black is song, Black is infinite, like hip hop or space. Black is grace, Black is love, Black makes black babies grow up. Black is tough. Black is hard to do. Black is me. Black is you. Black is not something we get to choose, but it is something we get to cherish. It's something we get to wear, and we get to rock this with honor. I'm black like my granddaddy and my great-great-great-great-grandma.
And the next one is showing love for black men in the black community. Go ahead.
Happy birthday, 1993.
Black brother, black son, black father, black friend. Why do they hate you so much, black man? They hate the skin that tempts their women to sin, because your looks takes the wind. Surrounded by trouble, but protected by light. Their hate isn't right, so now they seek to fight. Kill, steal, destroy, and never heal is the game they play for real. Battered, beaten, and broken, these people have stolen what we feel is golden. Now their hate is potent to a nation, barely holding on to life. But black man, let me tell you what I see that you have yet to be. The man you see has yet to notice he. Hair like wool, you are the tool to conquer these fools. Strength like an ox, take a loner in 3. They truly can't handle thee. I give you all this for free, because your love leaves traces on the many faces of the races that seek to disgrace you, to take away the power you hold from me. Black brother, black son, black father, black friend. This is why they hate you so much, black man.
And the next one is a shout out to black women.
I want you to know you're my pride and joy. Skin the color of almonds, that melanin was like a cartoonist and it drew you to your boy. I can say this without hesitation. Your presence brings me so much jubilation. So since you're sweet like candy, I guess that will make you an almond joy. You bring me the kind of love that all men should enjoy. We don't need no Fisher Price, but you'll always be my baby. I wake up daily singing forever my lady. You swipe my heart like the fox in the race. So your love blinded me like Jamie. So I'm thanking God daily for looking out, because he really blessed your boy. You my African shea butter baby. Skin so smooth, I would have thought you were a baby. Although you're independent and go where you want like the baby. Yes, indeed, I do love you, but I'm not little baby. And I can't wait to make you my wife so you can give birth to our little melanated baby. The chances of me finding someone like you are slimmer than shady. So I want to revolutionize your life like Toussaint did when he led the liberation of Haiti. But mainly, I just want to love your most natural self. And I just want to protect you from the world the way you come up with protective styles for your hair. And I want the rest of our days to be filled with sun rays. And I'll box anyone who has anything negative to say about your braids. And should we ever have a daughter, she'll look just like her mommy and want to emulate those braids, whether they're crochet straight backs or Fulani. And I've been wanting to tie the knot since the day I seen you in those Bantu knots. And I see so many other kinds of women trying to appropriate your style. So I must ask, can you not? Because maybe she's born with it. Or maybe it's melanin. If stealing makes you a felon, then these colonizers should be prevailing in being incarcerated. I find it crazy how black women are somehow the most hated, yet the most frequently imitated. Because when black features show up on non-black women, that's the only time they're ever celebrated. So I'm gonna forever gas you up for the size and fullness of your lips, since you ain't need no injections of collagen. I don't care about Becky with the good hair, because there's no problem when yours is kinky or nappy. And if Becky ever tries to get at me, I'm gonna find at least 42 ways to dodge her, like my last name is Robinson, first name Jackie.
So, as you heard,
Televised in the news.
spoken word.
Happy birthday, 1993.
I want.
Go ahead, click the, yeah, thank you. As you heard, black poetry and black spoken word is a great way to spread love within the black community and to the black family. I wanted to ask, before we go into our actual discussion questions, was there anything that was said in any of those spoken word poems or those poems that spoke to you or that you thought was cool?
Anyone? Don't speak all at once.
Go ahead, Mrs. Shabazz.
Well, I thought the misappropriation piece that he discussed, I think it was the last spoken word artist, just talking about how African features are rarely celebrated unless they are appropriated by the dominant culture. One of the things that I remember, and this is probably before some of your time, but I remember there was an actress named Bo Derek, and she wore what they were calling French braids. And this, after she was in a movie, and this movie was a big movie, and everyone was talking about French braids and celebrating how beautiful her French braids were. But the irony is that so many African American women have difficulty wearing their natural hairstyles going into work. That our natural hairstyles are often considered something that's not professional, ironically enough, yet it's often celebrated when it's misappropriated by other cultures. And I don't think that they're French braids. I think that they're African braids. And probably the French, during their colonial period, encountered Africans in places like Cote d'Ivoire and other places where they were braiding, and then they started wearing those styles and wearing them in France. But they're not French braids. They're African braids, and we've been wearing them for 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 years. So that's the one that really resonated with me. We need to celebrate these beautiful features, these beautiful natural features on black women, and not just when it's misappropriated by other cultures. So that really resonated with me personally.
I'm gonna add on to what he said. One of my favorite lines that he said about the black woman was like, you guys are the most hated but the most intimidated. Because like, as he was saying, like, you guys, like, stop saying that. Hold up, my bad. Like, sometimes, like, they always wear, like, all these, like, oh my god, these braids, these fox locks and stuff like that, saying, oh my god, I'm just going with the trend. It's not a trend if we're trying to protect our hair and we get backlash from it, but as soon as they do it, oh my god, new trend is new trend. It brings a person down when you, like, try to do something for yourself, but then oh, okay, because, like, it was...
So just get used to it, but you're talking to...
Okay, but yeah, it's just annoying, and it's like, why do I do the stuff I do? Anyone else, though?
Go ahead, Naheem.
Thank you. So I really appreciated the second spoken word. It was the one about showing love to black men, and I think that that's really important in the black community, purely just because, well, there's a lot of stuff going on, as always, but a lot of things that are kind of looked over is like mental health in the black community, specifically pertaining to men, and just like a bunch of stereotypes that constantly attack black men, which, like, of course, go back to slavery and kind of like things that sort of like stripped black men of their masculinity back then. I feel like through the generations, black men have sort of like tried to like make up for that by seeming like super strong and like they don't need reassurance at all. But it's just not the case, you know, and I really just appreciated that that lady was focusing on uplifting black men, because there's just like a lot of stereotypes around that are quite negative, and I feel like once we begin to show like love equally to all members of the black community, we can like rid ourselves of stereotypes that are harmful.
Thank you for sharing.
I have to agree with Naheem. I think that something he said that kind of struck me like as a thought was that, you know, with so much going on, it's hard to like spread love throughout the entire community. And I think something I've heard and something that I've experienced as a black woman with a black mom and a black dad and raised around black people who come from, you know, lower income communities and were raised in quote unquote the hood, sometimes I love you isn't the only way to say I love you. Sometimes it's like, text me when you get home, I see you, I got you, do you need anything? And so I think like now, when there's a lot going on, the way that the black community shows up for each other is we're always fighting for each other, like whether it's by protesting or signing petitions, it's like, yo, I got you. If you need me to be in the line at this protest, I got you. I'm fighting for you. But I think it was just beautiful that that was a way that we could share love and show our appreciation for each other within the black family through words and not just, yo, like, I'm fighting for you. I think that was really important.
To add on, I was gonna say, like, from a young age, we were taught like not to love our skin and stuff like that. But now, if we like do like little things like I got you, showing up for other people, that shows like black love. As like the slide said, you don't have to do like something grand. You don't have to make a poster. Just showing up and showing out for other people. That's the way you show your black love.
Thank you. I just wanted to add on about the very first spoken word poem. When it said that black isn't chosen, but it's celebrated, I thought that that really resonated with what y'all were talking about just showing up. That's how you show your love. And I think the celebration in the black community is inspirational to me, at least. And so I think I loved that y'all talked about that. Yeah.
Thank you. I also think that was important because it's not a choice to be black. Black is beautiful, as my shirt says, black is a blessing. I would never change anything about it. But it's not a choice. And you're just handed with what life is going to give you as a black person, so we have to make sure we're supporting each other. Does anyone have anything else to say about spoken word back then?
Hello?
I just wanted to add on to what you were saying earlier about being taught from a young age to not love our skin. It was being taught from a young age not to like anything about yourself. Me personally, I had to go to a lot of predominantly or majority white schools, especially in elementary and middle school, and I was, called dirty. My hair was called dirty all the time because it wasn't pale and my hair wasn't straight and blonde, and that led to a lot of self-hatred and internalized racism within myself. And I realized once I was around other people of color that they went through a lot of the same thing, especially other black kids once I got to the upper grades of middle school. And I thought that it was really, looking back on it, it's a shame that we're taught this way because it can lead to a lot of self-hatred that can be extremely detrimental and sometimes irreparable in your future. And even to this day, I'm still working on it. But the fact that I have been surrounded by other black people, especially other black women within my family, has really improved upon that. And it has shown me that it's not something to be ashamed of, but it's something to be proud of. And while I still struggle with it, I can tell that I'm doing so much better for myself and for the people around me who also share the black community with me. And I just thought that it was really important that touching on the youth of the black community and how much we are discouraged from our culture and our appearance can really affect us. So.
And I just wanted to say, I'm about to pass the microphone to Ms. Lewis. I just wanted to say you are a walking affirmation of what it means to be bold and unapologetic as a black woman. I just wanted you to know that we're here for you and we support you.
Hello, I'm Miss Lewis. I wanted to piggyback on what Zephyr said. I grew up in the South, so it was kind of different because we were segregated amongst each other. I went to all black schools, so I didn't have those pressing issues that you all may have had being exposed to, I'm not even going to say diverse schools, but white schools and black students not being accepted. So I have a question. As to my black students that went to predominantly white elementary schools, my question is, did you all have an outlet in elementary school when you were going through these traumatic experiences of being called dirty or on the playground and white kids did not want to play with you? Before those things started to compile and compound, did you all feel like you had a safe space, even with your parents, to let them know that you were having these issues while you were in elementary school, if you were in that position?
I'm gonna start it off by saying that my counselor was white, and she was like, "Oh, they're just joking with you." So I just thought it was a joke, and we're all laughing together. But no, they're laughing at me. So it's like growing up, it's like I realized like all the stuff that they've done that is not right at all. So it's like that.
Also, adding on to that, like I also went to a predominantly white elementary school, and I'm pretty oblivious to things. So at a young age, I didn't really fully understand what was going on. It was all hee hee ha ha. But then when you get to middle school and then you start to actually process what people say, that's when it kind of started to hit. And I feel like delayed like reactions also play like a really important role.
Yeah, I can also add on to that. I went to a kind of diverse elementary school. However, as I joined the tag program really early on, I was always surrounded by like white students a lot. And I don't think I really thought anything of it. I knew I was the only black girl in the class, but you know, I was told that I was young, black, and gifted. So that was it. I was like, woohoo, I'm young, black, and gifted. I think it hit for me, like just an experience, short story time, was when there was a display case, like a bulletin board they had did, and it was sharing the history of the KKK, and I didn't really understand. It wasn't until I took my mom to the school for parent-teacher conference, she was like, what is this? I was like, oh, that's Miss So-and-so's class. They were doing a history bulletin board. She said, what is that? And my mom was mad. She was like, no, where's the principal? Where's the teacher at? Because I'm not going to have my kid in no school with the KKK on the bulletin board. But I think that was the first time that I kind of realized, like, okay, something's not right. And then middle school, I went to Hammond, which is quite diverse. We almost had no white people. But even then, I think that I had developed so much self-hatred for myself as a young black girl when it came to my hair and my skin that it just took so long to finally come out of that and those insecurities. But as far as an outlet, my only real outlet was my mom, because she grew up in the South. She's from the deep South and grew up like around the KKK. Like she grew up on a farm and the KKK would be in her backyard. And so she knew what it felt like. She was also bullied. She knew what it felt like to face everyday racism, everyday colorism. And once she shared those stories with me, I felt really safe in knowing that she understood what I was also going through.
For the outlet portion, I was gonna say that my mom wasn't from here, nor was my dad, so like I had no one to talk to, because like they were also facing the same thing, because like they don't know that much English back then when I was in elementary school, so like they barely knew what if I would call them, oh someone called me a nigger, they would not know that I said that, like what it meant or nothing. Like one time my brother, he was called the N-word, and then after, my mom didn't realize the severity of the problem until they started pressing charges on my brother for fighting him. But the thing is, I claim it, he did not touch him. He pushed him, and after they're pressing charges on my brother because he was black. He said, the police officer said that himself. So it was like, you know, great.
I kind of just like to harken back to something that I noticed Miracle said about while you can still grow up in a diverse community or in a community of people that look like you, there is a lot of like colorism that goes on in that as well. like and especially like favoritism with like teachers and stuff, and also family members, that can be really, really, really harmful. I know that in a lot of, especially not so much African American communities, but African communities, and I know a lot of like South Asian communities as well, or like East Asian, there is a lot of self-hate that kind of like manifests into like horrible things like skin bleaching and just like not realizing that there is like a reason that you look the way that you look, you know? And I think a lot of that stuff is really kind of just like hard to break out from mentally, because if you grow up in a community of people that look like you, it should uplift you. But there are a lot of like Eurocentric things and generational trauma that is still instilled in like our families that can be really, really harmful to the younger generation or older generations that were taught by their parents. I didn't even know that it was like a bad thing, you know, to like, I don't know, just like thinking that like your nose shouldn't look the way that it looks, or that like you shouldn't talk the way that you talk, you know. It's just like stuff like that is really, really, really harmful. So I just like to kind of just like explain that you can grow up in a diverse community or a community of people that look like you, and it is extremely, extremely helpful, but there are also negatives that can be extremely impactful to your well-being growing up.
Thank you. Did anyone else have anything to share before we move on to our discussion questions? Oh, there.
I was gonna say I can relate to Amina about the mom situation, the parents having immigrant parents, because I grew up with them too, and even though my dad fully understands English now, I remember as a kid I used to be really embarrassed because my mom has a like prominent African accent when she speaks. So I remember going out and kids telling me that she was, you know, like you could tell that she wasn't from here. But another thing I was going to say is about the outlet situation. For me personally, it was hard because my sister and I were only 3 years apart. So growing up, it was like she was going through the same thing I was. So like when we went to school, we had to have our hair straightened up. It was like, and we were always compared because she's a lot darker than I am. So like Naeem said, I relate to that. Like when you go to family, they don't always uplift you. Sometimes they compare you, and it's just, I feel like it's really harmful.
Thank you.
Kind of like going back on what everybody before me said in like the third spoken word, when the man was talking about like good hair and bad hair kind of, and like all hair is like fine the way it is. It kind of like reminded me when I was younger, my mom would like relax my hair because like she's also an immigrant, and like that's just what they did over there. And my sister helped me to get my hair natural and stuff, and like how hard it was to grow up and like learn to like love my hair in its natural form. Sorry. And like how going back, my sister, she's dark skinned, my dad is dark skinned, and I noticed that like sometimes when we would like go in public, they would compare us. I mean, I'm not like light skinned or anything, but it's like you can tell the difference. And how they would like, kind of like masculinize my sister, and I saw like how they would like kind of feminize black people who have lighter skin, and how they would like their proximity to whiteness, like their looser hair textures and like 4C hair and like 3A hair, how it's like different, and how they would kind of like try to like divide us by kind of like saying things about our features and things like that.
I was gonna say, sorry. Not only that, I feel like skin bleaching, especially in my country, it's really popular. Like I have a lot of aunts that do it, a lot of cousins that participate in it. And when I ask them why, and they've said this, they just say lighter skin is just better, which to me doesn't make any sense because I mean, it's black's beautiful, so I don't understand the point in it. But going back to what she said, I relate to the whole comparison thing because it's just really uncomfortable. And not only that, I remember one time I was in the talented and gifted program, and my dad was the only black dad there, and they just kind of assumed that he worked for the school. They didn't think he was like a dad to be their first kid. So
Thank y'all for sharing. I had actually a similar experience with the TAG program. I think being in the TAG program so young as a black student it's a blessing in disguise, but it also can be very detrimental to your mental health. Usually I was tested more times than like the average student was to get into TAG, because they were like, oh, well, who's she? Well, we tested her and she got like one of the highest scores out of the group. And so then I watched all my other friends like get to join the class, and they were like, no, we're gonna retest you. We're gonna retest you. And I didn't really understand like the notion of that until like I grew up, and I was like, that wasn't right either. But we're gonna move to our discussion questions. Thank y'all so much for engaging. This is really exciting. So our first question is to describe what Black love means to you in one word. Would anyone like to start?
Power.
Power, that was a good one. Anyone else? Mine would be resilience, or strength, or unity. Anyone else?
Freedom.
I guess my word would be accepted.
Anyone else before we move on?
I would say excellence.
I like them. Moving on. How has Black love lasted us through the Black struggle? I can start this one off. Actually, I think I was a competitive dancer from age 4 to age 11, and I also had my hair relaxed and straightened and dyed and heat damaged. I went to a predominantly white dance company, and so when it was time for us to compete or recitals or performances, hair had to be slick, crunch, all the way top bun, no flyaways. And so that's what I had to do to my hair to get it to look like everyone else's. So the constant flat ironing with no heat protectant, the dyeing the hair because we wanted to do red streaks, and everybody could just spray the little spray dye in the hair. No, I had to dye my hair. I had to bleach my hair and dye my hair. And I got to middle school, I quit dance in 6th grade, and I got to middle school, and one of my friends was like, girl, this heat damage gotta go because it looks a mess. I was like, dang, I thought I was that girl. And she was like, no, it's not giving what it's supposed to give. And so I was like, so what am I supposed to do? And, she invited me to her house, and she showed me all her natural hair care products, and she was like, so you're going to take these scissors, you're going to cut these off, or you can go to hair cuttery, and they could chop it off for you, but it got to go. And then you're going to wash your hair with this and this clarifying shampoo. And I really appreciate her for that, and I think that was one example of Black love that kind of got me through my own personal struggle. Yeah. Anyone else?
Well, in terms of the second one, how has Black love lasted us through the Black struggle? One, I do teach the African American Studies course, and one of the things that we talked about in that particular course is the impact that the Middle Passage and the horrible system of slavery and the impact that that had on the Black family. And one of the things that really resonates with me about that question is that many Africans, and certainly those who are alum of my African American Studies course, understand that many actually wind up committing suicide by jumping off of the slave ships. Some committed infanticide to keep their children from, basically becoming tools of capitalism for those that own them. But I always think about those that chose to survive. Because without those people who decided that they would have love for the generations that have yet to come. Because for many Africans in America, and the diaspora in general, we are extensions of this psychic trauma that is connected to slavery. And when I think about the love that it must have taken for Black people to decide to live despite the horrors of the Middle Passage, despite the tyranny that they experienced on the plantations, that they decided that I will live and I will survive because one day it will be different for my posterity. They talk about that in the preamble, that they were creating this for themselves and their posterity, meaning future generations. I understand the preamble wasn't originally for Africans in America, but let's be clear that our ancestors, because we're still here, our presence is affirmation that they loved us enough to live so that we can live and thrive, although they couldn't live to see it. Many people who were enslaved were thinking one day, this will be different for my posterity. And that's the love that has lasted us through the Black struggle. The love that they had for us that allowed us to be born. Because if they all committed suicide and infanticide, none of us would be here, and I could not fault them for the horrors of the Middle Passage and the tyranny they experienced during slavery. So I just have a great love and appreciation for all of those who came before me, because we're all part of a struggle that started centuries before our birth and will likely continue centuries after our death unless we figure this race situation out. So that's how I feel it's lasted us through the Black struggle. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shabazz. That was really insightful. Anyone else before we move on to the third question? Okay, so share a time when you experienced Black love or unity and how you felt.
Well, as you all know, I'm from New Orleans, so we experience Black unity and Black love all the time. Right now is Mardi Gras season, and it's a tradition for Black folks in New Orleans to assemble under the bridge, which is Claiborne Avenue. And Claiborne Avenue used to be riddled with the heads of slaves. It used to be a mockery and a way to incite fear upon slaves to not run away from plantations. So they used to line the streets with decapitated slaves' heads. They used to line the streets with heads on a stick. And it's still said today that the field of spirits, that those slaves' spirits are among us. And what we do as Black people in New Orleans, we celebrate our ancestors and the spirits of those people, and it's a tradition that all Black folk know about, and we go under the bridge and we do spiritual dances, which is in the form of, how y'all have go-go. We do it in the form of brass bands in conjunction with the Black Indians, and we also have our second line dance. So it's more of a spiritual, we get it from African traditions, where they beat the drums, they play the percussions, and what they do is we dance to celebrate the spirits of Africans who have died during slavery, and especially within that local area. So, like I said, I had a different experience growing up amongst my people, where we celebrated our people at all times. Even for funerals, we have jazz funerals, but we celebrate the life of that person moving on to another life. So I have always had vivid pictures and experiences of Black unity and Black love.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. That was beautiful. I most definitely want to experience Mardi Gras one day.
Okay, so a time that I've experienced Black love or unity and how I felt was, so I'm Tanzanian, which is a country in the continent of Africa. And I spent a lot of my time there with my grandparents and my family there growing up. And something that I find a lot of comfort in and unity in is like food. Food is really, 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 really good. And it unifies a lot of people, especially ethnic groups. You know, food is really important. And for me, I just feel like the last time that I went to Tanzania was last summer. But for the times that I can't go, I know that whenever my mother makes food like ugali, which is kind of like, if y'all know what fufu is, it's basically the same thing. It's like that, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's like, it's really, really, really good, right? And just like the way that she prepares chicken or rice, everyone loves rice. Rice is unity in itself, lots of cultures, you know. It really just brings me home, you know, and I feel a lot of unity in that. And I think that food and recipes and things like that are also another way to express love for someone and have unity between you and where you come from.
Anyone else?
I would say a time that I experienced Black unity and love is anytime with my brothers. It's like they always were in like their own group. They always run with each other. Whatever they do together. Make sure everybody's like have each other's backs. If one does something, they go like, you know, they get some trouble. They all make sure that they're there for that one brother. It's just, it makes me feel like I can do whatever, you know, because it's like I'll have them behind my back when I get older, and it's like they'll have me the same way that they have each other.
I can go next. One time that I experienced Black love or unity was actually last year, well, this school year, but 2021. And my story is pretty much about Black hair. So I'm a cheerleader here at ACHS. I'm varsity head captain. And we have competition in October where we go against other teams in our district. You know, we train actually really hard all summer. And, you know, we have one of the best cheer coaches, Deontay Sharp, very well known in the cheer community. And so, yeah, we were pretty prepared. We weren't shooting for first just because we got moved to a district with some of the top schools for cheerleading, but we were shooting for a good area. And our two goals were to hit 0, which means to get no deductions for anyone falling or any stunts, you know, falling down in your routine, and that we wanted to leave our all on the mat. And we went to competition day 1. It was great. You know, we did a really good job. We hit 0, nothing fell, nobody busted their tumbling. And, you know, we felt really good about ourselves going back to prepare for day 2. We have a 1-day break or a preparation period before day 1 and day 2. So this was on a Wednesday. We were ready to reshape our routine for day 2, and our coach got a call from one of the judges who basically explained to him that our hair was in the way of our performance. This was not the first time that this has happened. This actually happened also my sophomore year. When we competed, we had won first place in the first round. When we came back for the second round, we lost to Hayfield by 1 point because somebody's braids touched the floor and it hampered our performance. But there's no video playback. They refused to watch videos back, so we couldn't really prove anything. It's he say, she say. But in this case, we already had one of our team members that was injured. I think 5 of us had braids. 2 people had faux locks. we have a majority black team, and we all wear protective hairstyles. We have maybe 2 white girls and 3 Latinx people, and that was about it. And she basically told our coach that, hey, unless you tell your girls to fix their hair, when y'all come back tomorrow, y'all are almost destined to get the same score that y'all did yesterday. So our coach sits us down, and he was like, you know, I know how this cheer stuff works. I've been through this before. I've been in the cheer community for this long. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's quite literally nothing we can do unless y'all want to drop everything now and take these braids out. There's nothing that we can do. And I think that was just ultimately so devastating because we had really worked so hard, and we already feel kind of unappreciated as cheerleaders. As a majority black women's sports team here, we're already kind of underappreciated when we're not the face of the school, we're not at a ribbon cutting, or we're not like on camera. You know, nobody really appreciates us on a daily basis. So it kind of just added on to all the stress we had on top of that. And I think for me, what was my experience for Black love and unity in this case was we as a team had decided that it wasn't enough to go to day 2 of the competition and sit there and not compete, but that we would rather write a statement to explain exactly why we weren't competing. So that was the agreement. I ended up writing a statement. It went a little viral on Instagram, kind of has over 1,000 likes or whatever on our cheer page. And I think that our white teammates and our Latina teammates and all the support we got on Instagram kind of displayed Black love for me, that everyone supported us and supported our decision in regards to not competing because of our hair. And I know some people will look at it and say, you know, it's just hair, and it's not just hair. One thing I had wrote in the statement was that in cheer and dance and performing, other people can use their hair to be celebrated and, you know, show their personality and really show their love for the sport. And instead of our hair being celebrated, it was used against us. So it wasn't just hair. But I really appreciated all the support that we got from outside community as well as non-POC on our team. And that was my experience with Black love.
I want to piggyback on what Miracle said because I was a JV cheer coach. As her coach was coming on, I was going out, but of course I still knew him. And so I knew what he was capable of doing and all of the cheerleaders that was in his era. And we dealt with that. So we're talking the early 2000s, where we got deductions because our cheerleaders were doing their stunts and whatnot. And, you know, maybe as they're turning over, et cetera, their hair touched the ground or whatever, and we got points deducted. And so when I found out about this, because your letter was sent to me, then I talked to her coach, and I said, go for it, because we have to take a stand. Enough is enough. And so I want to publicly say thank you for writing that letter. We should have done that earlier than 2021, but I am glad that this generation says no more and will not stop until something gets done. So thank you to you and your coach and all of your cheermates.
I wanted to address, that, and it's funny when you talked about, what Ms. Jones just shared, that it should have been done a long time ago. It kind of reminds me, in terms of the letter of protest, around basically hair discrimination. But one of the things that one of my heroes, Paul Robeson, once said is that he mentioned, how long? As long as we shall permit it. So the minute that we begin to stand up against injustice, that injustice has to then adjust to righteous protest. One of the things that I just want to quickly speak to about the when I've experienced Black love or unity, ironically enough, will be when I was making my decision to find a historically Black college for myself. And I'll share this because it's also in traditional African cosmology, man, God, and spirit all exist on the same plane. So we're connected to our ancestors and the spirits, and obviously everything that we are experiencing here in this realm. So, quick story, I was touring Hampton University, which is the school that I actually wound up selecting. But on the campus, there is a tree, and it's a huge tree, and it's called the Emancipation Oak. So, as it's, obviously, it's a historical black college, so we have mostly, obviously, African and American students, but certainly we had members of the African diaspora and a few white students as well who were taking the tour. But when we got in front of this tree, they started talking about how in 1863 that all of the enslaved Africans in the Hampton Roads area gathered under this tree because this is where there was a woman, an African woman who came down from the north, and she was teaching young black children how to read under this tree. So because that tree had already been a source of learning, I think that people gravitated to this tree and they were read the Emancipation Proclamation under that tree. And when they were explaining this during the tour, and they were like, so all the Africans in this area gathered under this tree, and they first learned of their freedom right here under this tree. And as I've shared with some of my colleagues and friends, a tear rolled down my face because I realized that, one, this was the school for me because it was ancestral at that point. But two, I realized that as I looked at this sprawling campus beyond this tree, I realized that, again, it was the love of the ancestors who built that school for Africans to have an opportunity to be educated without being marginalized and oppressed in traditional, predominantly white institutions. And at that time, there were very few predominantly white institutions that even allowed Africans to matriculate there. So as I thought I was having a personal moment as a tear rolled down my face, and because I was only 18 at the time, and I looked and I saw a few other people crying. And I just felt the overwhelming sense of love and belonging. And that's on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's the first one, love and belonging. And I felt love and I felt like I belonged there because this is where my ancestors first learned that they were free. Now, we understand the 13th Amendment really did it, but the point is they first learned of the fact that they could leave their slave masters and run behind Union lines and that they would be protected. And they learned that right there under that tree. And like I said, I felt an overwhelming sense of love that I still feel for my beloved university. It's ancestral, and it was love that I felt there. Thank you for allowing me to share that.
Anyone else like to share? Oh, okay.
I don't really have a specific time I can think of at the top of my head about like black love or unity, but when I first came to this country, I was raised around, but I was with a lot of black people back when I was young. So, and to this day, like through middle school, like Miracle, can I give you a hug like that ass? Can I give you a hug, bro? This girl has helped me through so much. You're the reason I get past middle school for, oh, here you go.
Thanks, Angel. That's so nice.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Speaking on what she said, what he said, my bad. Miracle really is the definition of black love. This girl has taught everyone and herself to like love yourself as a black person, as a black woman, as a black man, because you should not be sad or you should not be mad. Like, you cannot ask the question if you are I should have been a different race. No, you're black and you're beautiful. And this girl taught me that in middle school. I'm grateful I met Miracle. I mean, it's not even because of her. She was like one of the main factors for me to like realize that black is beautiful, because it is.
Right.
Oh, guys, stop. This is so nice. Okay. Moving on to our last discussion question. How does Black love appear in your relationships with your friends, family, etc.? So basically, how do you show Black love? How can someone show you Black love? As Amna and Angel said, I really like to motivate my folks to keep going, because I know how hard it can be to live through just an oppressed state, and I know the effects of self-hatred, and if anything that you know about self-hatred and self-destruction it's so personal. And I don't think there's anything else. I don't think there's any form of hatred or discrimination that can come from anyone else but yourself that could just be so detrimental to who you are as an individual. So I really like to make sure I'm showing up for the Black people around me, and that's how I show my love.
All right.
Also, this doesn't like only apply to Black people, it applies to everyone else. You don't be afraid to be who you are, because at the end of the day, you are who you are. You can't really change the fact what you are. So be who you are. What was the word? I forgot the word. Hold up. There's a word, but I forgot. It's like being
Unapologetic.
Yeah, unapologetically. Be who you are unapologetically.
So my younger brother is adopted, and he's Black, and so his uncle is Black, and so is his cousin, but the rest of his family is white, and we just every day have to make sure that he knows he is loved and appreciated just as equally, and we make sure that he has a strong Black community at school, at extracurricular activities, because it's very important that he grows up to know that he is loved and appreciated, regardless of the fact that he may look a little bit different than the rest of his family.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
So, as a person, when I was growing up, I was really deprived of affection. For context, I'm half white. My dad's side of the family is very affection. They're very against showing physical affection within the family. They just think that I don't know. They just don't like to do it. And when I first moved in with my mom about a year ago or so, I was a bit overwhelmed with how physically affectionate my mom was with me. And I was like, the first thing I said to her after about a month or so was, "Why are you being like this?" Like, I thought I was too old for stuff like this, because that's what all of my dad's family told me. And she said to me, "You're never too old for physical affection or any kind of affection. You're never too old to hear 'I love you' from your parents." And I realized that I got more love from my African American side of the family, which is, stereotyped to be the affection deprived side or general group, than I did from the side of my family that is known to give more physical affection, just again as a stereotype. And I thought it was very strange. It was very hard to get used to, but over time, it's made me really happy, and it has really opened me up toward affection, and it has made me a very affectionate person as a result. And I remember that being one of the first instances of Black love that I had felt in a really, really long time after growing up surrounded by mostly white people. And I remember just feeling so happy after not living with my mother for so long, because she was stationed overseas, she's in the military, and having her come back and show me that it's okay for me to be who I am, and for me to be loved, and to show affection towards her and those I care about. It was overwhelming, but it just made me realize that everything about me is actually okay, instead of just having to shut it out for those select few that actually did appreciate it.
As we, begin to maybe select our last person and we start to wrap up, I just wanted to interject this very quickly. The purpose of our lecture series is just what we've done here today. Our lecture series was designed to allow the participants to engage with the material that we're presenting in a very intimate way so that we can begin to heal together as a school community. And this is what we have achieved today. As I sat here and I'm listening to all of us, share these things, understand that there's a lot of healing in these words. There's a lot of healing in sharing your thoughts and your struggles and how you have sort of reconciled yourself with yourself and understand what love and belonging and what Black love in particular, since we are celebrating the history and culture of African Americans today, what it's all about. So I just want to applaud everyone who shared today. It meant so much because, again, you were at the center of this presentation on Black love, and that's how it was designed. The lecture series is not for you to sit back and just enjoy. It is a time to engage. Certainly, we will have a main program in the auditorium for the 24th, and that's more of a show. But our Black Box lecture series was designed to allow you to feel like you are a part of this living history that we have provided for you today. So I just want to thank everyone and for everything that you shared today. And since I probably wouldn't get another chance to address you, I wanted to make sure that I told you that. We've achieved what we wanted to achieve today, and thank you so much.
And I just want to add on to Mr. Shabazz. I was struck by the things that I heard today in this lecture series. And I just want to say to my beautiful Black young ladies that's in here, if you ever need a safe space, right, to talk about those issues, maybe you are still going through acceptance issues or confidence issues. There are a plethora of Black women in this building that are grounded and rooted within who they are as Black women and carry their skin color as a crown and understand what you're going through. So always know that I am a safe space. If you ever want to come and talk to me, I know Mr. Shabazz and Ms. Jones is always available.
You can find me right in here. This is my classroom.
Right. So never think that you have to suffer in silence, all right? I was appalled at what I heard about things going on when you all went through elementary school, but you do have a safe space with me. If you do not want to talk to a male, there's always a woman. And Ms. Jones, like myself, so who can talk to you.
Also, if you don't want to talk to an adult, there's also here at BSU. We're always here to talk to you guys. We're always here Wednesdays. You can always text us on Remind, email, text, Instagram. We're always here for you guys. And I'm always here. Always here.
I just want to say thank you guys for coming. I know Mr. Shabazz's class, my class, and of course Ms. Lewis's class, they have no choice. But for the rest of you, we want to say thank you so much. And I know I was in and out a little bit. That comes with the job of being the producer. You have to handle the behind the scenes things, but I just love the fact that everybody is in here, everybody's sharing, and it's Black love all day, 365, and sometimes 366.
Thank you guys so much for coming. I just wanted to encourage everyone to show your love in action and share your Black love and unity, as Ms. Jones says, 365 days throughout the year, sometimes 366. Thank y'all.